The Balkans, a region steeped in history where every stone tells a story, a tapestry woven with beauty and bloodshed where the past and present collide. But beneath the surface, shadows lurk, hidden from the casual observer. These shadows belong to the Balkan Mafia, a force born from chaos and fueled by greed, thriving in the underbelly of society. Their story is not just about crime, it is a reflection of the region's turbulent history. It is about the wounds of history, the fragility of peace, and the enduring power of darkness that haunts the land. The Balkan Peninsula has long been a crossroads of civilizations, a melting pot of cultures and conflicts. Empires have risen and fallen, leaving behind a legacy of conflict and division, a testament to the region's complex past. This turbulent past sowed the seeds of organized crime, creating a fertile ground for illicit activities. The disintegration of Yugoslavia in the 1990s provided fertile ground for its growth as old structures crumbled and new power vacuums emerged. War became a breeding ground for violence and lawlessness, where the rule of law was often absent. Weapons flooded the black market. Smuggling routes were established, connecting the region to global crime networks. Amidst the chaos, criminal networks flourished, exploiting the instability to their advantage. They exploited the instability, amassing power and wealth, living lives of luxury amidst the suffering of others. The Balkan Mafia emerged from this crucible, a product of its environment and a force to be reckoned with. It became a potent symbol of the region's troubled transition, a dark shadow over its path to stability. Understanding its rise requires delving into the historical forces that shaped it, examining the intricate web of events and influences. Only then can we grasp the depth of its reach and the complexity of its impact, a legacy of conflict that continues to shape the Balkans today. The collapse of Yugoslavia unleashed a wave of violence and instability. Amidst the chaos, organized crime found fertile ground. The Balkan Mafia rose from the ashes of war, exploiting the power vacuum and widespread corruption. Former soldiers, black marketeers, and opportunistic criminals saw an opportunity. They formed gangs, leveraging their skills and connections forged in conflict. These groups quickly established themselves in smuggling networks. Weapons, drugs, and people became their currency. The porous borders of the newly formed Balkan states facilitated their illicit trade. The international community, preoccupied with the humanitarian crisis, struggled to contain the burgeoning criminal networks. The Balkan Mafia thrived in this environment. They infiltrated legitimate businesses, corrupting officials and manipulating legal systems. Their wealth grew, as did their influence over governments and economies. The Balkan Mafia is not a monolithic entity. It is a complex web of interconnected groups and individuals, each with its own specialization and area of influence. These groups often collaborate and compete, creating a dynamic and volatile underworld. Understanding these key players is crucial to comprehending the scope of their operations. Their influence extends beyond borders, affecting global crime trends. One such figure is Sreten Josic, known as Joka Amsterdam. A notorious drug lord, Josic built a vast empire stretching across Europe. His operations were sophisticated, involving high-level logistics and extensive networks. He controlled smuggling routes, bribed officials, and orchestrated assassinations with impunity. His ability to evade law enforcement made him a legend in the criminal world. Another prominent group is the Serbian Mafia, known for its brutality and involvement in drug trafficking, human smuggling, and racketeering. Their operations are marked by extreme violence and a strict code of silence. They gained notoriety for their ruthless enforcement methods and connections to corrupt officials. These alliances allowed them to operate with near impunity. The Albanian Mafia, with roots in Kosovo, specializes in heroin trafficking and arms smuggling. Their influence is felt in many European countries. Their network spans across Europe and beyond, making them a significant player in the global narcotics trade. They are known for their efficiency and secrecy. These are just a few examples of the many faces of the Balkan Mafia. Each group has its own story, contributing to the complex tapestry of organized crime in the region. Their stories are intertwined with violence, corruption, and a relentless pursuit of power. The impact of their activities is felt far and wide, influencing both local and international affairs. Section 4. A global network, the reach of Balkan syndicates. The Balkan Mafia's influence extends far beyond the mountainous region of its birth. These criminal organizations have woven a complex web of operations, spanning continents and infiltrating legitimate businesses worldwide. Their reach is facilitated by diaspora communities. Emigrants fleeing conflict and seeking opportunity often find themselves entangled with these criminal networks. They become unwitting pawns in smuggling operations or forced into labor exploitation. Drug trafficking remains a cornerstone of their activities. Heroin from Afghanistan flows through Balkan routes into Western Europe. Cocaine from South America finds its way to European markets through their well-established smuggling channels. Moreover, the Balkan Mafia has infiltrated legitimate businesses. Construction, transportation, and finance have become avenues for money laundering and expanding their influence. They corrupt officials and manipulate financial systems, undermining the rule of law. Section 5. Tales from the Trenches, Real Stories of Brutality and Power. The story of the Balkan Mafia is not just about statistics and organizational charts. It is a story written in blood and fear, etched in the lives of those caught in its web. Consider the case of Slavica, a young woman from a rural Serbian village. Promised a job in Western Europe, she found herself trafficked into sexual slavery. Held captive and abused, Slavica represents the countless victims of human trafficking orchestrated by these ruthless gangs. Then there's the story of Petar, a journalist who dared to expose the ties between a prominent politician and a notorious crime boss. His investigation was met with threats, intimidation, and ultimately a fatal accident that silenced him forever. These stories, though fictionalized, reflect the harsh realities faced by those who dare to defy or become entangled with the Balkan Mafia. They highlight the human cost of organized crime and the climate of fear it cultivates. Section 6. The Iron Grip, Influence on Politics and Economy. The true extent of the Balkan Mafia's power lies not just in its criminal enterprises, but in its insidious grip on politics and economies. Their influence extends far beyond the underworld, seeping into the very fabric of society. Through corruption, intimidation, and strategic alliances, they have infiltrated the highest levels of power. This infiltration is not limited to a single country, but spans across the entire Balkan region, creating a network of compromised officials. Politicians are bribed or blackmailed, forced to turn a blind eye to criminal activities or even actively participate in them. The fear of retribution keeps many in line, ensuring the mafia's continued dominance. Contracts are awarded to companies linked to organized crime, funneling public funds into their coffers. This not only enriches the mafia but also stifles legitimate businesses, creating an uneven playing field. This corruption cripples economies and undermines the rule of law. Public resources are diverted away from essential services, leading to deteriorating infrastructure and public discontent. It creates an environment of impunity where criminals operate freely and citizens lose faith in their institutions. The erosion of trust in government and law enforcement is a significant consequence of this pervasive corruption. The tentacles of organized crime stifle competition, deter foreign investment, and hinder economic growth. Small businesses struggle to survive, and potential investors are scared away by the instability. The case of Montenegro is a stark example. Despite its potential, the country has been held back by the pervasive influence of organized crime. Once a promising candidate for EU membership, the country has been plagued by corruption linked to organized crime. This has not only affected its political aspirations, but also its economic prospects. This has cast a shadow over its progress and raised concerns about the influence of the Balkan Mafia on the political landscape. The struggle to break free from this grip continues as the region seeks to reclaim its integrity and future. Section 7. Beyond Borders, International Operations and Collaborations. The Balkan Mafia's reach extends far beyond the borders of southeastern Europe. They collaborate with other criminal organizations worldwide, forming a complex web of interconnected networks that facilitate their illicit activities. The Italian 'Ndrangheta, the Russian Mafia, and various Latin American cartels have all been linked to Balkan groups. These partnerships provide access to new markets, resources, and expertise, enhancing their ability to evade law enforcement. They collaborate on drug trafficking operations, sharing routes, transportation methods, and distribution networks. Money laundering schemes move vast sums of illicit funds across borders, often using shell companies and offshore accounts. This international collaboration poses a significant challenge to law enforcement agencies. Combating transnational organized crime requires cooperation and intelligence sharing between countries, a complex and often politically sensitive endeavor.